Q&A session. Dean Tyler says, I'm going to read what he wrote, and then we'll try and translate what he means. I have a month-old who keeps getting his sorry poo that seems way too big stuck, and he is very small for his age. Thanks. So our interpretation of that, because we talked about this right before we started doing this video, was I think Dean's saying sorry because he's using the word poo. So I'm going to translate as this: I've got a month-old puppy whose poo is getting stuck and he's small. Is that what you take? That's what you take?
Yeah, I take that his poo's...
He's getting constipated.
Yeah.
He's having a hard time pooping. He's getting constipated, right. So, what do you think, Tammy?
Maybe he's not getting enough water, eating his dry dog food, you know, and he needs more water.
I think that's great advice. I'd start there, yeah, I'd start there. So, if his poo is pretty firm and hard, that may be the problem, and some more hydration would be in order. So how would you do that? Well, you could switch from a dry food to a wet food and see if that helps the situation. You start there.
Just make sure that he's got water all the time to drink.
Yeah, well, that too, right. So the idea is see if you can hydrate him more and see if that fixes the problem. Because I don't know of any other solution to this, by the way. It's not like you do surgery on a dog's behind. You can get dogs, by the way, that do have a lot of hair back there that get impacted because of that. So we don't know what breed of dog this is. If it's a long-haired dog, you can shave back there and stop things from getting caked up. So that can happen. I think somebody's Beachside Bullies. I made a comment here about a law. Somebody's asking about a law in California about limiting the number of dogs that you could breed. And then this person says the law didn't pass in California. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So you've got Peter, who's very strong out there in California, and they've got quite a lot of clout, and they try to control what we can and can't do with our dogs. And some of the stuff that they come up with is common sense and makes sense, but some of it's too specific and doesn't make any sense. So not a big fan of Peter personally. Casey says, can you tell by looking at your pregnant dog's belly, you're listening, Tony, this one's for you, whether or not she will have a large or small litter? We go for an X-ray on Monday. She's 50 days along. She has had 5 puppies in her last litter, although she still seems fairly small in my opinion. This is her second litter of puppies.
Well, you might have bred her a little.
Well, the first question was, can you tell by looking at a dog's belly whether it's...
by that time you definitely can.
Yep, you can.
But the nipples are the first thing.
So she's 10 days or 11 days away from having puppies. And a dog that's got a lot of puppies in at 11 days out will look like he's got a belly load.
Yeah.
I mean, a dog that's...
It's her turn to just have a small litter this time.
Yeah. A small Frenchie, she says she's fairly small. Yeah, a small Frenchie with like 6 puppies on board, you're going to see it. So the answer is, she either doesn't have any puppies or she's got a small litter.
Is it when they breed them late, they have small litters?
Well, if you breed either late or early,
okay,
it'll impact litter size. And she's had a litter of 4, so we know she's capable of having a normal size litter. I'm going to guess here that you've got, maybe a single puppy in there or none.
it happens to all of us.
Can you make a video explaining an ovulation detector? Yeah, I can. It'll be a video of me taking the ovulation detector and smashing it against a concrete wall. That's what it'll be, because they suck. I don't think much of these things at all. We're talking about Draminsky. At least that's the only one that I'm aware of. And I used to have a Draminsky, and I didn't smash it on the wall. I sold it to somebody else who decided they wanted to try it out. And the way this thing works, it's got a wand on it that you stick up the dog's vulva, and it then measures the mucus, the electrical resistance of the mucus. And the idea is that you see a peak in resistance as the dog is close to ovulation. I can tell you that I thought the thing was very unreliable, and it was about as good for me as looking in a crystal ball. So I'm not a fan of that thing whatsoever at all. I even got to the point of I built one myself, because I thought I could build a better one than what Draminsky had built, that I could actually see the numbers come across the screen, and I still couldn't get anything to work reliably, so not a fan of that. DC4 says Platinums tend to have a lighter tone nose, like pinkish, same with the eyes. The eyes and nose can tell a lot, that's exactly right. Thank you, and our litter is going through is going through you guys. This is this one is the breeder's choice that we got her from. Not sure what that means, but if you use one of our dogs, thanks, we appreciate you. Hello, I have a 1-year-old male brindle. Can you tell me at what good age is to get him neutered now? Don't hang around. No point waiting. No point waiting, because you get him neutered for 2 reasons. One is you don't want to have puppies from him and have the accident that he could produce puppies that you don't want. And he can do that right now. You could do that maybe at 8 months old. So, you know, you could neuter the puppy earlier than what you're doing here. You could have neutered the puppy at 8 months old. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you reduce or you completely eliminate the chance of testicular cancer. So why not do it sooner than later? Now, this is a conversation I'm going to have with Tammy because she knows about horses. With males horses, you don't get geldings. A gelding is a male horse that's been castrated. But you don't do that for a little bit because you want a certain amount of testosterone to bulk the animal up.
Yeah.
You think that's true of dogs too?
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know about this. So what's going through my mind here is, so we have all stud dogs. So
you were fixed early, right?
that's why I'm so muscular. What's that? The opposite of that. That's why I'm so feminine. So yeah, so you know, I think you know there's got to be some truth to this. I mean, look, you know, this is something that they did, you know, Arabian times. They'd castrate, they produce eunuchs. They'd do that so they wouldn't be tempted to breed with the harem, would be one reason. But the other one is, and we did this back a couple hundred years ago to make boys that could sing beautifully, because they'd have beautiful voices before their voices broke as their testosterone levels rise, and the way you'd stop that would be to castrate them. So you know, I think they're, you know, again, I'm talking off the top of my head here, and I don't know, but I suspect that if you castrate later in life on a dog, you may end up with a bulkier dog. Whether you want that or not, but it might be true. There we go. Philip Johnson, James, how can I buy 1 or 2 pots from you? I'm in Africa. You probably can't. So the problem is that shipping dogs overseas is expensive. It takes a long time and is potentially hazardous. And you combine that with problems with COVID, with importing dogs, can make it harder this last year. And then some dogs have
what the rules are for
quarantine.
Anyway.
Yeah, there may be quarantine limitations too that can make it even harder.
You got somebody that's over here in the States, that lives here in the States, to come visit you.
You can take a dog back.
You can take a dog.
Yes, that might work.
Then that might
Yes.
work, but I don't know what the quarantine level is on a
But
dog.
the short story, the short answer to this is we personally are not going to ship a dog to Africa.
I think it'll probably have to be old enough to have rabies, is what I would think.
Yeah,
But I
well,
don't
certainly if it
know.
went to England, it would have to be, and then it had to be quarantined and all kinds of other stuff that goes on. So there's, you know, again, we just don't know what we're talking about here because we just have never shipped a dog. We've never exported a dog anywhere other than the United States.
Unless you come over here and then take the puppy with you.
There might be a way of doing that, yes.
Yeah.
And so the other part about this is that it's not necessary for us to ship dogs to other parts of the world because people buy dogs here in the States. So just for that reason, we don't want to take the risk. So I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear, but there we go. DC4 Bagger never mentions Color My Frenchie app, 10 times better. Makes a dressier platform to use for beginners. Well, I do mention it. I have mentioned it. I have, I personally prefer the coat color calculator Bakia. But look, we use either one of them. I'll load them both up, see what you think. I haven't tried the Color My Frenchie app in a while. I'll probably go back to give it a shot. Right. I think I'm getting into the point where I answered questions before. Mum of Cracker, we'll just handle this one here for the last one. I asked my buyers for their driver's license and I showed them mine before they walk into my home. I also sold a puppy with full breeding rights. They resold the dog the next day for more cash than names of people who are scammers. I'm not going to mention their names because I don't know if that's true. All right, so look, I mean, look, the first thing is, I don't know what a license, I mean, if you get somebody's license, I mean, I don't know what good that does you. I mean, anybody can give you a fake license. And I'm not sure how that protects you. I mean, certainly if you're going to take a check from somebody, which is very risky, then you could have a license that you could then have that you might be able to get.
Well, she invited them into her home.
Well, I wouldn't invite anybody into my home unless I knew them for a start. And just because they've got a license doesn't mean they're nice people. So I'm not sure what's going on with the license. The second part about them buying a dog from you and reselling them, unless specifically that's in your contract, you have no control over this. You know, and if they do it, I don't know what the hell you're going to do anyway. Even if you had a contract in place, you'll have a hard time enforcing a contract in these situations anyway, because you can't revoke the AKC registration. AKC is not going to do anything for you. So I think that the secret here is know the people you're selling a dog to and be comfortable with them.
She could, you know, probably remove the health guarantee. That's the only thing you could do.
Sure. She can remove the health guarantee, but if it doesn't say in the contract that this guarantee is only for the original owner of the dog and is not transferable, then she couldn't do that either, because she could end up in court over it. So the secret to this is have a contract that makes sense. A contract that makes sense for you in terms of what you want your customers to do with your dogs. But don't have a contract that's 10 pages long, because this is just getting stupid. And I see these and I just shake my head, I sign them and go on about my business. But make your contracts sensible and try to cover the things that could happen. And if one of the things you don't want to happen is the dog to be resold without it being offered back to you, then make that apparent. That's it for this one. That's it. Anything else, Tammy? Is life good? Good. See you, everybody. Bye. Watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.